call consciousness enhancement devices, or as some people call them, mind machines. In previous videos, I've gone over some of the research I've done on Bob Monroe and the Gateway experience, and why I no longer personally trust that technology. But up until now, I've never gone into the technical details. So let's go into some of the darker aspects of consciousness technology. And you can see from my collection that I collect mind devices. And it's not because I'm just a hobbyist, it's because this is actually my professional field. My academic background is in neuroscience and computer science with advanced degrees in both. For the past 15 years, I've worked as one of the top artificial intelligence experts in the country. In my professional career, I've worked with some of the biggest names in the tech industry on some very high-profile artificial intelligence systems. And let me just be blunt. Things like Elon Musk's Neuralink and the various interfaces between your mind and a computer that they're still working on, that's all a red herring. We had that figured out decades ago. I've always been in the private sector. I've never worked for the government. But even in private research and development, we had technology that didn't require a headset to read your brainwaves and make changes on a computer. So what does this have to do with Hemisync and the Gateway experience? It started when I was doing research for a follow-up video into why most people don't actually get the claimed experience, the claimed benefits from this technology. And I started going through the Hemisync patents. And what I found in those patents is that Hemisync and the Gateway experience aren't just using simple binaural beats. It's not as simple as having 100 hertz in one ear and 107 hertz in another ear, and your brainwave entraining to that 7 hertz. What it appears to be from my reading of the patent is that they are entraining you to pre-recorded brainwaves, either organic or something that they contrive themselves. And when I read this, I noped right out, and I'll explain why. It all goes back to a group in Japan known as the Aum Shinryoku. Back in the 90s, this group gained infamy for a terrorist attack where they gassed the Tokyo subway system. Part of this cult's mind control operation involved making members wear a headset called the Perfect Salvation Illumination headset. And what this headset was claimed to do is to entrain the brainwaves of cult members with that of the cult leader. So as strange as it would be to be hooked up to a cult leader's brainwaves, the real problem comes in when you realize that the speculation is that the Aum Shinryoku was an intelligence operation. They were testing a small population of the Japanese public, a traditionally very conservative group of people who do not break rules, to see if they could turn them into radicals and commit terrorist attacks. The cult leader wasn't even hooked up to the system. The cult members were hooked up to a computer system that was monitoring them in real time, sending feedback to change their brain states and to gradually change their minds and their morality. As an example of what technologies have trickled down into the public sector, we see patent number 6,011,991 from 2000, and it's a communication system and method including brainwave analysis and or use of brain activity. What this is a system and method for enabling human beings to communicate by way of their monitored brain activity. The brain activity of an individual is monitored and transmitted to a remote location, e.g. by satellite. At the remote location, the monitored brain activity is compared with pre-recorded normalized brain activity curves, waveforms, and patterns to determine if a match or substantial match is found. And if such a match is found, then the computer replies. With these technologies, if you take somebody's mind and you give them a brainwave that's been pre-recorded and you entrain their brain to it, and you have the same brainwave at your destination computer, they can get into synchrony with one another and allow two-way communication between both. An individual's brainwaves are as unique as a fingerprint. Publicly, this process is known as EEG heterodyning, among other names, and it's the current state-of-the-art in neuroscience and consciousness research. And there doesn't seem to be any limitation in distance. In the videos that I presented earlier on the psychic training device, and I taught you how to build one of those, Dr. Michael Persinger linked up two minds 6,000 kilometers apart using a very different technology. To use an analogy, something like the mind-to-mind system opens you up to the internet. It's open source and allows you to go do whatever you wish with your psychic ability. But something that entrains you to an EEG is like getting malware that sends you off to a very specific website. So when Dr. Puharish started studying telepathy back in the 1940s, they had an idea to weaponize this natural human ability for telepathy and clairvoyance. And basically, they created a man-in-the-middle attack. So as soon as I read that Bob Monroe was basically doing a study project where he was taking all these people and recording their brainwaves, and that the Gateway experience implements those brainwaves, that became a problem for me real quick. because I can't trust that if I'm doing a gateway experience that I'm having an organic experience, or if that's something that a computer system is playing back to me. Now, I had used the gateway experience just as a consumer, just out of personal preference because it was convenient. But in my opinion, it doesn't work any better than any of the rest of these. Most of these devices are just very simple entrainment devices, just like my little magnetic pulsar here. All they do is entrain you to go from alpha to theta to delta, whatever you wish, to help you relax and get into your own latent meditative state. So at least when you use these, you know that what you're getting into is organic. It is truly coming from you. And if you couple any of these brainwave entrainment devices, get yourself into theta state, and use the psychic training device that I taught you how to make, you can have some extremely profound experiences well above and beyond what you would normally get through meditation. I've received dozens of emails and DMs from people who are using the psychic training device and the magnetic pulsars, and they're having truly extraordinary experiences. Things like finally having lucid dreams for the first time in their lives. And that's the point. The point is to open source this material, give it out to you so you can awaken your latent abilities without them being used against you. No. So although I'm giving the gateway experience a thumbs down as a consumer, I'm not going to leave you empty-handed. I'm going to go through all of these devices and start showing you what's available and how to actually get yourself into the proper states, how to combine it up with the psychic training device, and how to have some really extraordinary experiences.